Praise. Good morning. You are welcome to this show, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. This is Oyekan Oluwole coming to you live in this program called The Wisdom of God for African Transformation. You see, what we are basically doing is trying to see to it that poverty is stopped in Nigeria. Poverty is reduced in Nigeria. Many are taken to heaven. We strongly believe that a poor man is highly vulnerable to sin. So that is why we run on this topic this month, August. Do you remember the topic that we are running on? We are running on serving the needy, or helping by serving the needy is why God created you, will bless you, will multiply you. In fact, everything, you understand, everything that accrues to the blessing of the Lord is when we serve the needy. So serving the needy is why God will bless you, keep you, protect you, and take you to heaven. Serving the needy, that is helping poor people, giving clothes, giving all those giving shoe. Remember how I did to that boy. You giving all those things. That is just assisting people, especially assisting people for them to fulfill the plan of God. Maybe somebody want to be singing. Maybe somebody think that his own is to be doing good, as in is to be serving people. Your own is to do everything to serve him. So that is what we are running across in this stuff. So the series that we are running is serving the needy is why God will multiply you, receive you on the last day, receive you when your life is over. Serving the needy, because we saw that the greatest commandment is for you to love one another. You remember, we saw that the greatest commandment is for we to love one another. So which topic are we running across today? Today's topic is the blessedness of serving the poorest of the poor. The blessedness of serving the poorest of the poor, the blessedness of serving the needy, the blessedness of helping people, the blessedness of having the heart. You see, what do we mean by serving? Serving is an assumption that you must assume from today that whatever you have is not from you. You understand? Whatever you have is entrusted to you by God. You know how to read. Like this, our small boy, what's your name? Thank God, he know how to read from child, and I told him be teaching as you are sitting. Don't accept in exam, but don't cover your book. Help somebody. That is when God will bless you. And he's about to open his YouTube channel to be making money. As small as it is, I don't think it's up to 10. So this is what we are talking about: the blessedness of serving the poorest of the poor. The blessedness of serving the poorest of the poor. So we want to go ahead and look at the table of contents. What are we going to be ascertaining today? We want to be looking at blessing if you consider the poor. Blessings of considering the poor. Number 1. Number 2, caring for the weak and who God said we should love, who God said we should help. The first thing I want to look at is blessings of considering the poor, helping the poor. What is the blessing thereby, and how do we get the blessing? That is the first thing. The second thing is caring for the weak, and who does God actually say that we should help? What is God's heart towards people whom he said that we should help? Or what is the greatest commandment? Then the third is the reward of selfishness and people who refuse to help, how they ended. Some people actually refuse all these things that we are talking about. All the whole Sunday we are shouting, help poor, help poor, help poor, help the needy, help God's people, because Jesus Christ said, I am that poor person. So some people said they will not help. We are going to see how they ended. We are going to mention those that are in the Bible, those that are dead, and those still living, how they ended, that they live for themselves. And then we are going to see those things. So the blessedness of considering the poor. Psalm 41 from verse 1 to 3. Psalm 41 from verse 1 to 3. The blessedness of considering the poor. Psalm 41 from verse 1 to 3. The blessedness of considering the poor. Today we want to go and see what are the blessings in all this considering the poor. What are the blessings in all this considering the poor? Psalm 41 said, blessed is he that considereth the poor. The Lord will deliver him in times of trouble. So the first blessing that we see is that any time of trouble, God will be with you. Now, you know, in Nigeria, there's a whole lot of trouble. In fact, 11 people was killed in Benue yesterday. There's a whole lot of trouble in Nigeria. No school fees to pay, no food to eat. In fact, we are going to see some because I'm going to differentiate right in this service the difference between abject poverty that the world know and corrosive poverty that is happening in Nigeria. You understand? Right in this service, we are going to differentiate between the two. The world know that the worst poverty is called abject poverty, but in Nigeria there is another one called corrosive poverty. We are going to see it. So, but God said, blessed is he that consider the poor. The Lord will deliver him from all in times of trouble. The Lord will deliver, another translation says, the Lord will deliver him from all his trouble. Psalm chapter 41 from verse 1. He said the Lord will deliver him from all his trouble. So any problem that I enter, God will be delivering him. I see God delivering you in Jesus' name. Verse 2. The Lord will preserve him. That is, God will be guiding him. God will go before you. Remember what we said in that Sunday that we said, helping the poor is your surest way to become the richest in the world. You remember what we say when we were throughout the month of May that we're saying helping the poor is your surest way to becoming the richest. But this one, you said, we are saying that the Lord will preserve him, so God will guide him and keep him alive. That person will not die a useless die. Anybody who consider the poor. And we are going to go ahead and see that somebody died, but he was considering the poor, and that was the yardstick by which it was brought to life. And he will be blessed upon the head. All the whole world will be blessed because of him, and he too will be blessed. Blessing will be coming to him. He will be blessed upon the head, and thou will not deliver him unto the will of his enemy. His enemy will be desiring his downfall, but will never ever see. The Lord will strengthen him upon his bed of languishing. Anytime that he's confused, he does not know the right thing to do, he does not know what to do, the Lord will strengthen him in terms of languishing. Thou will make all his bed in his sickness. You see, God will dress his bed in sickness. God will surely protect him and dress his bed in sickness. That is some blessings accrued to the poor. Then let's go to Acts chapter 9 verse 40. Those are the blessings with the poor. Let's go to Acts chapter 9 verse 39. Acts chapter 9 verse 39. Let's go and see one powerful blessing that is there. Acts chapter 9 verse 39 of helping the poor and the needy. Acts chapter 9 verse 39. He said something. He said, then Peter arose and went to him, came forth and upon the chamber and all the widow. Okay, let's start from 38. And as much, let's start from 36 so that we'll jump to 39. Now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This woman was full of good works and give alms to the poor and the needy. So this woman was sick, full of good work, and it came to pass that she was sick and died. Can you see? The woman was full of good work and she was sick. Acts chapter 9 verse 36. Now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This woman was full of good work and alms did, that is giving alms, helping poor and the needy, which she did. And it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died. Now let's go to 39 first. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he was come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping. And all the widows stood by him weeping, and showing the coat and garment which Dorcas made while she was with them. All the widows, you see, we saw that Dorcas was sick and died, but he was helping people. He was giving people clothes and giving people coat and everything. And all the people bring their food, they bring their clothes. Now begin to show Peter, show everybody, this is the good deed that this woman did. She's not supposed to die like this. How are we going to survive? Hungry will kill us. Our life is finished because this woman is gone. All the widow, you remember the Bible says, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the widow and the orphan. You remember? So this woman was doing exactly that. But let's see what happened. And all the widows stood by him, weeping and showing the coat and garment which Dorcas made while she was with them. 40, Act 9:40. But Peter put them all forth and kneeled down and prayed, and turning him to the body said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. She opened her eyes. Somebody who was died opened her eyes because he was doing good. From today, anything that is dead will be opening his eyes in our life. And even when we die, we are going to be we will arise again to come and continue our good in Jesus' name. Let's look at another blessing for helping the poor. So you see, today we are looking at somebody who is dead. Oh, you understand that story now? Somebody who is dead, because of his helping the poor, he was brought back to life. So tell me, if poor, helping the poor, the widow, everybody came to cry, and Peter brought the woman back to life, what is it that is difficult? But let's go ahead and see. You become God if you help the poor. You will become God if you help the poor. Psalm 82 from verse 1, it says, God stand in the congregation of the mighty, he judge among the gods. How long will you do unjustly and accept the person of the wicked? So that was what God was judging. Defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. So God said, these are the things that you should do. Deliver the poor and the needy, write them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness, all the foundation of the earth are out of course. I have said, you are gods, and all of you that are the children of the Most High. I have said you are God, and all of you that are the children. So if you do all these things, you will do. He said that, but if you don't do, he said, I have said. He said, but you shall die like men and fall like the priests. If you love the poor and do all those things, you will become like God. So you see, he said that the whole foundation is shaking because the poor and the needy, because the widow and the fatherless are abandoned. But if we do these things, God will help us. God will make us God among the head. First John chapter 1 First John chapter 4 from verse 7 to 8. First John chapter 4 from verse 7 to 8. Let's see. We are talking about you will become God. And you know, when you become God, no winches, no wizard, nothing can ever stand in your front again. So what do we do to become God is what we are looking at. First John chapter 4 from verse 7. He said, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and know God. So that is what he says. If we love one another, God is of love. That is equating God. It's just like you saying that 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 plus 2 minus 1 will be 1. So he said, if we love, let us love one another, for God is love. So if we love, we carry God. But let's go and see the verse that says, he that loveth not know not God, for God is love. He that loveth not know not God, for God is love. In this was manifest the love of God towards us, because that God sent his only begotten Son. So in this, he that loveth not know not God. Can you imagine that if we love, we become God? Because he that don't love don't know God, but he that loves carries God. He that loves carries God everywhere. He carries God everywhere. Let's go ahead and see another thing. Now let's go and see this verse. Genesis. Any blessing that you have is for you to be a blessing. Any blessing that you have is for you to be a blessing. Genesis chapter 12 from verse 1. We are going to begin to go into the heart of the message. Genesis chapter 12 from verse 1. Any blessing that you have is for you to be a blessing. Genesis chapter 12. He said, Now the Lord had appeared unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation. and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that blesses you. Now let's start again. You see, he said, I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. So if God bless you, you are supposed to be blessing others. Now when you bless others, what will happen? Now the Lord, Genesis chapter 12, now the Lord had said unto Abraham, get thee out of the country and from thy kindred. So you will get out, you will spread, your fame will spread all around the world. You understand? If you are helping poor people with the little resources that you have, your fame will spread around abroad. Like for instance, in UK, in Canada, everybody know that I'm helping people. You remember that Iwo bag that I went to distribute? Because we distribute the bag and things begin to open, people begin to call from Canada, from UK, from China, even from India, not China, India. There is somebody who called from there. So helping the poor will actually pay you. Now let's go ahead and see. And from thy father's house unto the land that I will show thee, he said, get out of the country, and I will make of thee a great nation. God said, if you help the poor, if you become a blessing, he said that will bless you and you will be a blessing. If you live your life like that, God said he will make you a great nation. He will make out of you a great nation. He will make out of you a great nation. And I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou will be a blessing. I will bless you and make your name great. And you, he said, I will make of thee a great nation. That is, if you are helping poor people with the blessing that God give you, only you will be like China. Now, what is a great nation? That is China and USA. You know, China overtake USA like times 2 in trillions US dollars. China overtake USA. So USA is not the first again. You know, we analyzed last year that something like that. But this year, China overtake USA far, because China is just, all the business is favoring poor people. All Alibaba, all those things are favoring poor people. Etsy, all those things are promoting the poor. So anywhere that they help the poor, just like we said last week Sunday, poor people will arise. You see, in Nigeria, they will say that Nigeria is rich. Go and look at Banana Island now. People have money in Nigeria now. But in America and in China, they said America is rich. Go and look at the poorest person. The poorest person is doing fine. The poorest person is eating. At least he have place to stay. So you measure in Nigeria, you measure. That is why Nigeria is in all this quagmire, all these nefarious activities. In Nigeria, you measure wealth by maybe 3-4 people that have everything, that are billionaires, that have private jet, that have maybe 2%. But in China, USA, the reason why they are growing, becoming strong, is because they measure their wealth by the poorest. So the poorest person have house to eat, have food to eat, have some things, and can send his children to public school. So that is what they measure wealth. That is what any nation that want to grow measure their wealth with. So he said you will get out of, you will go, when you help poor people, and he said I will bless you and you will be a blessing. You see, so that means that he said get out of your country. So your fame will spread abroad. You will get out of the country, and God will make a great nation. So only one person will be like China. That is Genesis chapter 12 from verse 1. All the families of the head. And then let's go and see something that I say. And I will bless thee, and you will be a blessing, and curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the head be blessed, and in you shall all the families of the head be blessed. That is, one man will be blessing everybody. You remember Joseph? Genesis chapter 47 verse 51. He said, and all country came into Egypt to Joseph to buy corn, because the corn was shower. That is one man being a blessing to all the family of the world. He said, and all country, that is all the whole world, came to Joseph to buy corn because of the wisdom of helping people. You remember, he was forgiving his brothers. You remember, we proved 5 ways by which Joseph is an epitome of love, that he carried love. He forgave his brother. He was helping people. In fact, when he was about to be poisoned, he even wanted to help his brother. In fact, his vision was about to help his brother. His vision that he saw himself bigger. He was always helping his brother. So that is what we are talking about. all the families of the earth would be blessed. Look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a blessing to all the families of the earth because he was demonetizing computer. He said only rich people cannot be holding computer. Today, me too, I can hold computer. He said only rich people. And you remember Alibaba said that his own business is to favor the poor. Other business like Amazon, eBay, they are favoring the rich. If you have money, then they can market your business. But his own is trying to favor the poor, to bring out all those people selling in tray, in bucket, in basket. All those people, you want to promote them in China, and that is why he become the richest in China today. You see, anytime that you help poor people, you will be superpower, because God will be with you, and Almighty God cannot be with you and you become poor. Almighty God cannot be with you and you become poor. In fact, look at the top 10 richest countries in the richest companies in the world. They go and read their policy. Top 10 richest companies in the world, like what is it called? All this Amazon, Microsoft, what is it called? Walmart. All his target is to reduce price so that poor people too will be enjoying what the rich owns. That is his target. So anytime that we consider the poor, go and look at top 10 richest company in the world. They are always planning their policy, their mission, their goal is not to support the rich, is to support the poor, is to ensure that they ensure that the poor people too enjoy what the rich has. That is what their policy is. And that is why you and I can have free fan television. In fact, Amazon is working on how we will be using free data to browse. How we will not be owning data. How just our phone will be coming out that 24 hours data. That's what they are planning. Because people who does not have money, they want them to begin to use data. So anybody who consider the poor will be among the richest in the world. You remember throughout June, April, we said that we run on a topic that helping the poor will make you the richest in the world. Helping the poor. So we have analyzed that one. That we saw how what is that man called? Carlos Slim said helping the poor is good for the business, is good for the nation, and is good generally. Helping the poor is good for everything. Helping the poor is good. So let's go ahead and see. Now, if you now say that you don't want to help, if you now say that you want to wait before for you to have money before you help poor people, let me tell you something. You want to wait for miracle, you want to become a millionaire before you help poor people, nothing will happen. So how do we help poor people even when we have nothing? Remember our March message, we said helping poor people without nothing. How to help poor people without nothing and become rich. Now we already have some blessings that we're supposed to use to help poor people. We already have some blessings. If you don't have anything, you have eyes. Abi. Help poor people to see, because you cannot wait. Because you cannot continue to wait until you have all before you start to help poor people. You cannot continue to wait like that. Otherwise, God only help people who start to help poor people. Let's first of all look at this thing. You can read. If you can read, start helping with mama, all those who cannot read. Start helping them to read. If you can talk, help people to talk. For instance, tell people the problem that is happening, like the way I am telling people the problem that is happening. Help people to tell the problem. If you have clothes, just like the way we saw that woman give clothes and he was arose from the dead. Now, if you have clothes, I have given so much clothes, so give clothes. If you have time, sit with poor people, reason with them, be a linker to them, provide solution to them. If you have time, if you have environment, space, use it to bless people. That is, do community service, maybe like packing of dirty, maybe like planting of flower. If you can think, you can also help people. So this is what you must do. You must start to convert these fundamental blessings to helping poor people. But so that is when God will help you. Until you start to help poor people, if you start to help the needy people to fulfill God's vision with this one, God may not come down. But when you start to help, let's go and look at what will happen in Luke chapter 12. Let's see what will happen. Luke chapter 12 verse 42. Luke 12:42. Let's see what will happen. Luke 12:42. If you start to help even when you have nothing. Luke 12:42. And Jesus said, who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his master shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he come, shall find so doing. Of a truth I said to you, of a truth I say unto you, that he would make him ruler over all that he hath. He said, who then will God give everything? Who then will God make the richest in the world? And he said, blessed is that servant, whom when the Lord come, he has already find him giving the small meat. He has already find him doing small things to help poor people. He said, of a truth I tell him, he will give that servant everything. You understand? You remember we are talking about you have time, you have eyes, you have this thing. Now this verse now say, Luke chapter 12 verse 42, he said, who then is that faithful and good servant which the Lord will give all that he have? He said, blessed is that servant, when his master come, he will find so doing. Of a truth I tell you, he will find so doing means he would have already start to give them the small. He would have given them gari, then God will come and multiply. He would have given them all those things, then God will come and multiply what he has been given. Now let's go ahead and look at Exodus, a perfect man that shows us this example. Let's go ahead and see Exodus chapter 2 verse 16. You remember the story of Moses. Moses was a fugitive. He killed somebody because he was trying to deliver Israelite. He killed somebody, so they drove him inside bush. So Moses was living inside bush. Now tell me, which kind of person poverty will reach that one? That is the greatest poverty, to be living inside bush, for human being to turn to animal. But one day he saw shepherd driving 7 girls, because the 7 girls want to come and fetch water and to take to home and then water their cow and give to their cow. Then Moses stood up and went against that shepherd and make those women fetch water, make those girls fetch water quick. He made the process fast. And when they reached Jethro is the father of those girls. Jethro said, how come you come back very early today? He said, there is an Hebrew man that help us. Now this is the greatest way by which God will help everybody in this world. He said, there's an Hebrew man which help us. And that Jethro said, why did you leave the man there? Go and call the man, because the man has helped you, I must help him. So you must look at Moses. He was inside bush, he had nothing, but he helped poor people. He helped people who out of his nothing, he was able to stand up and fight. That's why I said, if you have eyes, if you have hand, if you have power, he was able to stand up and rescue those girls from the hand of that shepherd. And when the father said, go and call, and the father gave him good clothes, give him food, give him wife, give him camel. Because when Moses was going, Moses left that house with a lot of cow, camel, ass, all those things. You see, he did not have anything. He was staying inside bush. He was hiding somewhere. But he saw somebody suffering, and he went to help, not knowing that it is this daughter of priest that he helped. Jesus said, let's not be weary in doing good, for so doing we will help angel. You understand? Let's not stop in doing good, because so doing, because as we help, one day we will mistakenly help angels. Somebody will reward us. So that is what we are talking about. I have a lot of testimonies. Let me tell you one. You see, one of my brother that is in UK, he was not focusing on me very well, like helping me. So, but I did not even have anything, but he was helping others. But me, I was out of my own littleness, I was helping some of my sisters. So the brother now called my sister one day and I said, how is Oluwole? They now tell him that he's a very changed man, he's a very good man. And that is when my brother now turned my life around, that I have money to buy all this thing, marry and do everything, and buy everything that I bought. Because I was helping wash cloth, do some little thing. So when my brother asked that my sister that, how is he doing? They said that he has changed, he's a developed man, and that my brother said, okay, it's time for me to change him. You understand? Especially because I was helping, not because I stopped smoking, although I was not smoking before, not because I stopped lying, but because I was actually making life good for others. So that is what Moses was doing. Moses was inside bush, but he helped those girls. You understand? He helped those girls. As he helped those girls, what happened? The father said, go and bring Moses. And they give him food, give him house, give him wife, give him everything. That is complete turn around because he helped poor people. Complete turn around because he helped poor people. Now let's go ahead and see. But if you are waiting for miracle before you start to help. You say you cannot help with the little that you can read and write. You cannot help with all what you have. If you are waiting for miracle, Bible said no miracle will be shown you except the one that is shown Jonah. No miracle will be shown you. If you are still waiting that until I have money, until God sends somebody to come and bless me, let's look at what Matthew chapter 12 verse 39 said. Matthew chapter 12 verse 39 said something. Matthew 12:39 said, an evil and adulterous generation seek after signs, and there shall not be signs given to you but the sign of prophet Jonah. We are still going to go ahead and look at sign of prophet Jonah, but you and I must start helping from today. You understand? That's what the Bible is saying. He said, don't wait for signs, don't wait for miracle, don't wait for until money come to your pocket. Don't wait for that kind of time before you start to help, before you start to help your mommy, before you start to help people, before you start to help people fulfill destiny, before you start to help people carry load. Don't wait until sign comes. Sign mean you have plenty money before you start to help. He said, if you wait till that time, I am waiting for my breakthrough. I am waiting till I will become human being. I am waiting for a perfect time. He said that if you wait for that time before you start to help people, he said only this sign of Jonah will show you. Now the question is, what is the sign of Jonah? What is the sign of Jonah? Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of shark. Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of shark. Now what is that? It means you will be face to face with death until your head correct. If you are waiting for a perfect day, I don't want to go, I don't want to do this, I don't want to start to help, I don't want to start to fulfill destiny, I don't want to start to do what God sent me. He said you are waiting for until you have millions, until I have car, until I have good house, until I have this. He said the only sign that will be given to you, the only miracle that will be given to you is that you will die. You will be face to face with death. If luck happen to you, you will repent. You have time to repent like Jonah. Now what is Jonah miracle in our days today? What is Jonah miracle? Jonah was in the belly of fish. Now God use that face to face with death situation to make Jonah focus on helping those poor people in those villages. You understand? How does God help people now? People goes to prison in our days before their head correct. So if you don't feel like helping poor people or feel like fulfilling God's purpose, starting to do what God sent you, prison is waiting for those kind of people before their head will correct. Police station, all those kind of things. Another sign of Jonah that we can see today, if God sent you and you don't feel like going, you don't feel like doing, it will be face to face with what? With sickness. Horrible sickness and this thing until God heal you or God have mercy before you will now focus. So instead of all of this, why not start to help poor people today? Why not start to fulfill what God? Another this thing is divorce. Your wife may leave you, your child may leave you, everybody may leave you if you don't consider the poor. My brother, if you don't consider the poor, divorce, isolation. If you don't consider the poor before your head correct, everything may spoil. Another sign of Jonah, Jonah was faced with death, so we are considering the dead now. Another sign until you start to help poor people. Another sign of Jonah is corrosive, not abject poverty, but corrosive poverty. Corrosive poverty. Now, in Nigeria, our own poverty is corrosive, not abject. The world know about abject poverty. Thank God. The world know about abject poverty, but in Nigeria, it's corrosive poverty. So what is the difference between corrosive and abject poverty? These are all what will happen to you. These are all what will happen to you until you start to consider the poor. Blessed is he who consider the poor. The Lord will deliver him from all his problem. From all his problem. Blessed is he who consider the poor. The Lord will deliver him from all his problem. So until you start to consider the poor, the Lord may not deliver you from all his problem. So abject poverty. What is the meaning of abject poverty? Abject poverty means you work very hard and you are paid a little, or you sit for long in the shop but sell very little. That is abject. But let's see the one that's happening in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, you need to start to help poor people very fast to receive the blessing of God. In fact, if there is a place that you're supposed to do what God say, you remember all the blessings that we listed in the beginning. God said it will happen to you if you don't remember. So that before. In Nigeria, it's so pertinent that we help poor people so that we will have the blessing of God. Because look at poverty in Nigeria. You work very hard and not get paid, or sit in your shop. You work very hard and not get paid, and they still take you to prison. You work very hard and not get paid. You understand? You work very hard and you don't get paid, or you sit in your shop That is corrosive poverty that is happening in Nigeria. Or you sit in your shop and sell nothing, and tax collector come and close the shop again. You sell nothing in the shop and tax collector come again and pack the small goods that you were selling. That is abject poverty. That is corrosive poverty. You know, corrosive is chemistry word. Chemistry said corrosive is any dangerous chemical substance that has power to destroy the body, to destroy the three state of matter. Corrosive poverty is corrosive chemical is anything that have power to destroy acid what is it certain gas, liquid and solid, and gas. That is corrosive acid have power to destroy those things. That is why we bring it as corrosive this one. Now number 2, the difference between Nigerian poverty and the rest of the world poverty. You work, so the rest of poverty understand abject poverty as a worst. You work for somebody, when it is time for the person to pay you, he didn't had bonus, incentive, or you work for somebody for 10 years without no increase of salary. You understand? You work for somebody for 10 years, no increase of salary. That is abject poverty. But let's go ahead and see corrosive poverty. You work for somebody, instead of the person to pay you your salary, we are not even talking about bonus, he take you to prison for no just reason. That is corrosive poverty that is happening in Nigeria. You work for somebody, instead of the person take you to pay you salary. That's, we are not even talking about incentive. Incentive is that one. Many Nigerians don't even know the meaning of incentive, bonus, all those behavioral way of encouraging workers. You know, we have scientific way of encouraging workers. We have behavioral way. Behavioral way is all this bonus, incentive, all these things. Now, number 3. Let's go ahead and look at number 3. The world know abject poverty, but Nigeria know corrosive poverty. Now, abject poverty is when you are in 21st century and you don't have, but no Android phone to function or laptop, but you are still like using hoe and cutlass. Now, corrosive poverty means when corrosive poverty that is happening in Nigeria is when you even need the hoes and cutlass but can't get, or no farmland, or worse still, you have the hoe and cutlass, and on getting to the farm, cutlass cut your leg and the hoe cut your leg, and no way to treat, no means of treatment, because this farm is food production, so no food again to eat, because the farm is small scale, so no food again to eat, so the person may even die from there. That is abject poverty. So now let's look at the next thing I want to see today is caring for the weak, and who does God actually say that we should help. Now you now want to help. Which kind of people did God say that we should help? You now want to help. Which kind of people did God say that we should help? Poor people. But let's go ahead and see which kind of poor people. You see, the kind of poor people have category. Now let's go ahead and see which kind of poor people did God say. Matthew chapter 25. Let's go and see the kind of really poor people that God said that we should help. Matthew 25 verse 40. Matthew 25 verse 45. Then shall he answer and say, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did this to the least of the poor, you have done it for me. Matthew chapter 25 verse 45 and 46. He said, remember that man said, when did I see you and I did not give you food? When did I see you and I did not give you this? He said, inasmuch as you have done this to the least of the brethren, you have done it to me. You see, another benefit of helping the poor is that you enter heaven. You will make heaven when you enter the poor. We saw the other time that somebody died, and because he helping the poor, he wake up. But now we see that God will say, enter heaven because you helped, because I was poor. Now let's go ahead and see number 2. Which kind of people does God say that we should help? Luke chapter 14 verse 12. Luke chapter 14 from verse 12. Luke chapter 14 from verse 12. Which kind of people did God say that we should help? From verse 12. Luke 14 from verse 12. Then said he also to them, when thou makest a dinner or a supper, call not thy friend, nor thy brother, neither the kinsmen, nor thy rich people, nor thy rich neighbor, lest they also beat thee again and recompense you That is, don't call rich people, don't call your neighbor, don't call your friend who can call you again and recompense you. But when thou makest a feast, call the poor. So who do you give food for? Call the poor. So in my 40 years birthday, my birthday, we will be solving poor people problem when we gather here and celebrate it. A lot of people don't know this, as if it's not in the Bible. And you know what? Some people proud that they have read Bible 24 times. They have read Bible 30 times. Before, since you were born, they have read Bible finished. Yet, they do party and poor people hanging. Lazarus are everywhere, hanging, waiting for them to go and wash plate before they put on and pack the rice on top of the water. When they are washing the plate, put on and pack the rice on top of the water, eat. Nobody care. And Jesus, those are the people that Jesus Christ said we should call. He said, but when thou makest a feast, feast mean party, or feast mean you want to help people, call the poor, the may mean like blind, all this kind of people. The lame mean no leg, the blind, and thou shalt be blessed, for they cannot recompense thee, for thou shalt be recompensed at the resurrection of the Lord. Thou shalt be recompensed. But we saw that all your problem will be solved if you consider the poor. We saw that all your problem will be solved earlier on if you consider the poor. So those are the people that God said that we should help. The poor, the lame, the beggar, the widow, the orphan, all those kind of people who cannot help you back. That is the kind of people. Leviticus, I will just be rushing now. Leviticus chapter 25 verse 35. If your brother become poor and cannot maintain himself with you, you shall support him as though he were a stranger and a sojourner. If your brother become poor and cannot help himself again, anything can happen to somebody in this life. Leviticus chapter 25 verse 35 said, you shall help him, you shall support him, you shall guide him until he becomes strong again. You are guiding him to lift him, to put him in fruit. You know the way God said we should help Abi. He said we should give people talent, not to give people like food, all those kind of things. Because he said he that does not work should not eat. But we should give people talent. Talent mean your gift. Talent mean tools to work. Talent mean like money for you to use to fulfill destiny. Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 15 verse 11. There will always be poor people in the land. Therefore I command you to open handed towards your fellow Israelites. Therefore I command you to be helping poor people. Therefore I command you to be an open-handed people. Deuteronomy chapter 15 verse 11. He said there will be poor people in the land. Therefore I command you be helping poor people so that there will not be poor people. You remember we established it that day. That God did not say that there will be poor people in the land so that we will not be helping people. God actually said that there are poor people in the land so that we will bring love and revert that situation. You understand? We will, because his disciple, if God actually said that there will be poor people, so don't help people so that poor people will not cease. His disciple will not help those multitudes and there is no poor person in Acts chapter 6. God would not make a statement like a statement that he made that if you believe all things are possible, if there will always be poor people in the land, means that we should not help people again. But there will always be poor people in the land, but me you will not have. So if you have God, there will not be poor people again. If you have Jesus Christ, there will not be poor people again. Isaiah chapter 25 verse 4. For you have been a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a shelter from the storm and shade from the heat. For the breath of the ruthless is like a storm against thee. For you have been a stronghold, you guide the needy, you defend the poor and the fatherless. Isaiah chapter 58 verse 10 said, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in darkness. Then shall your light rise. And you know you only arise and shine when your light has come, for the glory of the Lord. And he said, a little one shall become like 1,000, a small one a strong nation, when your light come and you arise. So it's when you help the needy that you arise like that. Luke chapter 3 verse 10 to 11 said, what shall we then do? He said, the crowd asked. John answered and said, anyone who has 2 shirts should share with the one who has none, and anyone who has food should do the same. Luke chapter 3 verse 10 to 11. These are the practicality. If you have 2 clothes and somebody don't have anyone, you are admonished to share with that kind of person. Including food. Somebody don't have food, you are admonished to share to that kind of people. Luke chapter 3 verse 10 to 11. That is what God was saying there. Proverbs chapter 19 verse 17. Whoever is kind to the poor, lend to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. Whoever is kind to the Lord, help lend to the poor. Proverbs chapter 19 verse 17. Whoever is kind to the Lord, lend to the poor, and he will reward them. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 9. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor. You see, there is no time that it is easy to bless poor people except now, because now there is technology. As you bring people to your YouTube channel, YouTube will go up. As you teach people how to grow YouTube, they will subscribe to your YouTube channel and you will go up. So there is no time that is as best as helping people like this time. Mark chapter, let's continue with our who should we help and the blessedness and all those things. Mark chapter 10 verse 21. And Jesus looked at him and said, you lack one thing. Go and sell all and give to the poor. Because it's Jesus Christ that gave him everything in the first place. Remember the way we start. Serving means assuming that everything is of God. So when he tell you go and sell all and give to the poor, you can give. We saw God do the same thing. God sit in the heaven, but he did not repair heaven. He began to repair earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was without form and void. God left heaven and he began to focus on human being, create every human being first, and no provision that he repair heaven, because he focused on other people, and he created us in his likely image that we should focus on the poor, we should help the poor more. But let's go ahead and see. Luke chapter 6 verse 28. Give and it will be given unto you, a good measure, pressed down, shake it together, give to the poor, not give to all those kind of big pastors who want more. Luke chapter 12 verse 33 to 34. Sell your possession and give to the poor. So that is what Galatians chapter 6 verse 9, he said, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap not if we don't give up, if we faint not. Let us not be weary. That help that you are helping people, don't be weary in doing it. Now let's go ahead and see the reward of selfishness, and all people who refuse to help the poor. This is where we will be bringing the message to an end. The word of selfishness, people who refuse to help the poor. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 13. Whosoever closes his eyes to the cry of the poor will himself call out, and nobody will answer. Anybody who see poor people and he close his eyes, he do as if nothing concern him, he himself will cry. The Bible has caused him that he himself will be in problem and nobody will answer. So that is it. So if you close your eyes to the poor, God has empowered you to enter similar problem, or to enter a problem worse than that, and nobody will answer. John chapter 3, 1 John chapter 3 verse 14. He who does not love his brother abide in death. He who does not love his brother is dead already. So that is the consequence of not loving. If you don't love your brother, the Bible said you are dead already. He who does not love his brother abide in death. Or sister, thank you very much. Or sister. So brother there mean man and woman. He who does not love his brother abide in death. Now let's see Osama bin Laden. He abide in death. He was always hiding ever since he destroyed the America. Let's see Muammar Gaddafi, and they were killed in their prime. Muammar Gaddafi, the president of Libya that ruled 30 something years, he was killed in the middle of his days, and his children, they are nothing to be reckoned. Let's see Abacha that stole the whole Nigerian money. He was dead in his prime. I think in a prostitute lab. Now let's go ahead. Finally, in the Bible, people who considered themselves, we see Lucifer. Lucifer was saying, I will arise, I will shine like the bright, I will shine like the morning star, I will do this, and God said, no, you don't say I here, you will go down. Today your soul will be required. Let's look at the certain rich man. That, if you need that verse, is Isaiah chapter 14 from verse 12. That place that Lucifer was saying that I will arise, I will rise up and shine like the morning star, I will shine like this, I will shine like that. And God said, no, here we talk in group, here we used to talk by group. Certain rich man, we saw Luke chapter 12 verse 16. A certain rich man said, I will pull my band. It is nothing concerning with anybody. I have work, I have labor, and now I have surplus. Now I will pull my barn, I will build a bigger house. I will remove this one and I will put this one, and I will say, my soul, sit down, marry, have power, enjoy yourself. And God said, you tonight you will die. Tonight you will die. Where will all those things? Luke chapter 12 verse 16. All those things which you gather, where will they be? Nebuchadnezzar said, I am the king of the Babylon. I have ascended. He talk about I, nothing concerning with nothing concerning with Babylon. And God said, stop. And God said, this night you will die. This God did not tell him that you will die. God said you will be sent. You will be sent to where? 7 years will pass over you until you know that the Most High. 7 years you will go and begin to eat grass. Can you imagine somebody spend? But Moses was in the bush, but he did not spend 2 days because he helped poor people and he came out. But Nebuchadnezzar, king, would have all the power, went to the bush 7 years and he began to do. Àti fi yàn ọmọ ènìyàn ohun tọ́lọ́run béèrè lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ a ló ń retí kéde o ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ ń bẹ lórí rẹ̀ bó bá kú. You see, praise the Lord. You see, God said in the book of Micah chapter 6 verse 8, he said, we have shown you, son of man, all what God required of you, to do justly and to have mercy to the poor. To do justly. Anybody who is human being, who is breathing, all what God required of him is to do just to the poor and to defend and to have mercy to the poor. Let's close our prayer. Father, we thank you, Lord. We bless your name.